We have 10 seconds.
Thank you.
Two seconds.
That's right. It's the morning show right here on ABC News Radio, KMET, 1490 AM. Joining our live audience there on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Periscope TV, Apple TV, and don't forget us on Alexa. All you have to say is, Alexa, I'd like to listen to KMET 1490 AM, and it will light up properly and hopefully ask you which way you want to listen. You can listen via the TuneIn app or any other app that you can personally check out. We got Mr. Jesse Sanchez over there just waiting in the wings. Jesse, good morning.
Good morning.
Lots of news, local news as well, which I know we'll start off in a minute. But quick question of the day. If you could do or redo any film, what film would you redo and or recommend that we see this weekend? Because I guarantee people are going to want to probably stay home and indoors more often than not, especially with the latest news.
Right. If you haven't started watching The Mandalorian, get on it now if you have it. Or I keep hearing negative reviews, but I really have to watch it, and I'm gonna watch the New Mutants. I think we were talking about that yesterday.
Yeah. Good. Okay. I've got some things to watch then. For those of you tuning in on social media, let us know what are some good stuff that you're watching. Maybe it's a series, maybe it's a couple of series. I know I turned my mom recently on to Legends of Tomorrow, right? So I've done that, and then she likes Arrow. I didn't know she had a woman crush on Arrow, but who doesn't, right? Although it's kind of weird when I see my mom go, I didn't know this guy was in The Flash. She did the crossover one. You know which one is when they all crossed over from all the different versions of it, which I don't like Netflix because it doesn't have a continuation. You're like, wait, where does that pick up, right? It just kind of stops in the middle and then it continues. So it kind of doesn't have that wherewithal. They kind of need to figure that one out. And then Supernatural. By the way, Jesse, I just saw the news on that. For Supernatural fans out there, it's coming to an end on the CW. I mean, I have to say, at least we got 15 seasons of it, right? But Jesse, you have some ideas about it, and you're a huge fan of it as well, right?
Oh, I love that show. I've been watching it since the beginning. I've seen the seasons multiple times, and it's just a great. To be honest, I am quite surprised that it's lasted for 15 seasons, considering most shows on this subject don't really get that long, maybe 4 or 5. But it's a great show. Not all the seasons are winners, but you know what? It's a fun ride, and it's a fun show about family.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see which seasons to focus on. You know what I mean? Because there were some seasons I was like, oh, this is just a dumb plot line. But I was always glad that they picked up. And then sometimes if you go to the very beginning and then you find the middle and then you find the end and you get rid of the other ones, you can get through some seasons and then go, okay, that was a really good story, right? But I think wherever you pick up, it's a pretty good show. But there you go. The series finale aired on Thursday, brought to a close the story of two monster hunting brothers whose story was told over 15 seasons. The end of Sam and Dean's stories were what they would have picked for themselves back in season 1, but ones that never would have been possible had they not gone on 15 years worth of adventures. The finale episode began with a lot of things that I don't want to talk about because I don't really want to know. These stories always are there. The question, though, of the day, Jesse, do you know where we could see that if we miss it? Because I didn't watch it on the CW. I usually watch it on Netflix, and they take forever to get it.
Yeah, usually if I haven't watched it on Netflix, I will watch it on the CW app. They usually have like the last 5 episodes. So
perfect.
That's the only place that I know that you can watch it other than Netflix.
Now, did you see the finale?
Last night? No, I plan on watching that tonight with maybe a lot of tissues. I don't know, because I really don't want the story to end, but I know it has to.
I know. I just, for anybody that's been invested in that show, I don't know if anybody's watched it. If you haven't, don't start off at the end. Start off definitely. I think if there was a season I'd recommend, I'd recommend season 3. Start off with that one, and then you can always go back and forth. They usually do really good, in the last episode, or they kind of catch you up always before, so you could kind of pick up where you left off. All right, people. So in social media, let's do some chat shout outs really quick before we get to top of the news. Alex tuning in says, good morning. Hello, Alex. Good to have you with us. I don't know this name. I believe it's, I don't know what language that is, but says hi. Thank you, fan. Rosalie tuning in says, happy Friday, beautiful people. Awesome. Glad to have you with us. Penelope says, good morning to all. Stephanie Reed says from Cleveland, Ohio, hello, happy editing this glorious sunshine day for today's busy, awesome, and amazing day. Let's see. We've got a couple others. All right. Alex recommends I May Regret for Alzheimer's Awareness Month. You can get it on iTunes and Vimeo. So I've yet to see that or check it out. Rosalie says, I rented Unhinged from Redbox last night. It was really good with Russell Crowe. Very cool. Diana Carbajal says, good morning. Alex says, Succession, Queen's Gambit, The Fall, Please Like Me. I haven't seen any of those. Have you, Jesse?
For what show?
Succession, Queen's Gambit, The Fall, and Please Like Me.
I heard good things about Queen's Gambit. I haven't heard anything about the other ones.
All right. Stephanie says, I've been watching that old 90s show, Smart Guy, on Disney Plus.
I love that show.
Is it really good? What's it about?
It's about a young, I guess, elementary school student who is highly gifted, and he ends up going to high school with his brother. So it's a fun show. I remember used to watching that in the 90s. It was great.
Got it. Okay, so and Rosalie agrees. Queen's Gambit is awesome. What do you see that on?
Queen's Gambit or
Got
Netflix.
it. Okay, all right. All right, and then hello, humanoids of the earth, turn up today and every day. That's what Shadow3413 says on YouTube. Thank you. Okay, let's skip forward a little bit to local news. And California's been in the news as of late, honestly, because of coronavirus. Big surprise there, right? However, people are wondering what's going to happen next. And the news, let me see if I can find it. I know I posted on my social media here. Is California has announced a return to a simplified program called curfew. They're imposing it already. Some, of course, not happy about it. I know Jesse and I are kind of going, huh? But let me read it first. Officials are calling a limited stay-at-home order requiring people who are not on essential errands to stay home from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. starting Saturday. The order will last until, and this is a long time, Jesse, December 21st. So basically a month. It could be extended if disease trends do not improve. California is imposing the nighttime curfew as its coronavirus figures are soaring, but it will lean heavily on voluntary compliance, and sheriffs of some counties say, of course, they will not enforce it, which kind of begs the question, why would you impose it, right, to begin with? Now, I will say that there's some numbers here which are causing a lot of awareness. And these are the type of numbers which are important to at least pay attention to. Do I agree that we need a curfew at the end of 10 to 5? Not really. And I, some would say, well, what are you busy out doing during that time? Now, I will say there's a lot of youth out constantly doing things during around that time, and or teenagers, and or, I don't know, people that just are single, ready to mingle out at the bars, right? Right? I mean, let's face it, right, Jesse? I know you're laughing, but it's true.
It is true.
Okay. Because if you've got a family, you're already in by that time. You got kids, you're already in by that time. You're probably like 9 o'clock. You're snoring, man. But I get it. Like now, I'm like, okay, what's to do out there? So I kind of get that, but here's the numbers, okay, as they currently are looking. The curfew covers 94% of the state's nearly 40 million residents. It's in place in 41 of the state's 58 counties that have the most significant increases in virus cases and face the most severe restrictions under California's 4-tier system for reopening the economy. Hospitalizations are up, and check, these are the more difficult numbers to have to repeat. 64% they're up in 2 weeks, and the positivity rate, the percentage of people testing positive for the virus, has increased more than 50% and now stands at 5.6% for the last 7 days. The virus is spreading at a pace that they haven't seen since the start of the pandemic, and the next several days and weeks will be critical to stop the surge. They say we are sounding the alarm. The state recorded 11,000 cases Thursday, its highest. 12% of positive cases end up requiring hospitalizations, meaning that based on just the 1 day total of 1,200 people, that they will be in hospitals in the next 2 to 3 weeks. According to one, they said there is no single culprit, but among other things, he cited people mixing both indoors and out, especially for celebrations, holidays, Halloween, ahead of Thanksgiving, when many will be tempted to gather with family and friends. He called the curfew a focused and targeted effort that would allow some activities to continue because we're fatigued by months of COVID-19 restrictions. The idea of COVID fatigue or COVID resentment is an important piece. The curfew comes just days after the state imposed tougher restrictions limiting business operations in 41 counties. The new health order does not close any businesses. Non-essential businesses must shut their doors by 10 p.m., though restaurants will be permitted to offer takeout and delivery after that time. People can still shop for groceries, get medical care, pick up prescriptions, take care of other essentials. One says, I can walk my dog at 11 p.m. if that's your tradition and routine. But there you go. So look, and San Bernardino County is in on this. There's a lot of other numbers coming in on this. I will agree to disagree on this. I feel it's kind of a neither here nor there issue. At the end of the day, how are you going to impose it? Are you going to like pull over every car that's out there? Now, I will say it makes for an easy commute at that time, right? There should be no traffic. I remember the last time they did something like this, it was like smooth sailing but then even then people would zoom so fast, you'd be like, oh man, just get in a Bugatti and go fast, like 180 miles per hour. That'd be kind of cool. But other than that, I don't know that it's going to do anything at the end of the day. What about you, Jesse?
Yeah, I highly doubt it'll do anything. I mean, like you said, most people are asleep by then or getting ready to sleep. I'm asleep by 9:30 because I got to wake up early. So
you're like, I have no time for party. I know.
I wish, but maybe on the weekend.
Yeah.
It sounds like he wants a curfew, but nobody really wants it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be good for a good couple weeks. Then people be like, but it's entering cold months. If this were summer months, it would be harder. I will say that, right? Because summer months are usually colder months. You kind of want to stay inside, right? You kind of look for activities inside. I just don't know where we are exactly in the stream of time with that. I do know this. The question keeps coming up: is there going to be a full lockdown eventually? And is this like a precursor to that? Or are they trying to figure things out in the middle of it, hoping that they can at least impose something rather than nothing? I just don't know that a lot of people are out that much at those time of nights. But I get the holiday partying, and maybe that's what they're trying to figure out in order for people not to be drinking and driving, right? That's something that obviously we should see the numbers go significantly down on that. I don't think it's a correct fix right now. I think if you're gonna put any type of proper lockdown, I think it's just not the way to do it. But there you go. All right, people, we got to take a quick break. When we get back, we got more right after these messages. Stay tuned. Whoops. Did I forget Joel? Hold on. I just got a message. Hold on. I might need additional numbers on there.
Time?
Yeah, Joel popped up on my thing.
Oh.
So, hold on. Are you there, Joel? Joel, good morning.
Good morning. How's it going, guys?
Hey, good.
You shaved the beard.
Hold on. We're on a commercial break, but they can hear you, just so you know.
Okay.
Hold on, Joel. Okay. All right, looking good, bro. Hey, sorry, my whole calendar got deleted. So I
Not a worry.
It was weird. My whole Google calendar's like, I don't know who's on when and or how. So give me a moment.
Not a problem.
All right, here we go. Looking good, Joel.
Yeah, I trimmed it down a little bit.
All right, let me see what we're talking about.
Still looks good. Mine is like a weed.
All right, we're talking about VR.
You
VR.
brought that up last time, so I thought I'd talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, no, that's good. Let's start. Let's see. You got music. You got gift ideas. Cool. All right. I'll just let's see where we go with this. All right, cool. Oh man.
Yeah.
Hold on. Are you connected through Wi-Fi or it keeps changing?
Should be Wi-Fi. Do you want to call back, reconnect?
Let's try that one more. Hold on. Yeah, I'm going to remove you and then I'm going to add you. He was a little
50 seconds.
botchy there.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah. All right, Joel, you good?
Yeah, is that better?
Yeah, it actually is better.
Okay.
Hold on.
How's the sound? I have my mic plugged in.
Yeah, it sounds much better.
Good.
Much better.
30 seconds.
All right, thank you.
Do you need more time?
No, I got it.
Okay.
Thanks. Oh. Still all over the place. You might have to reset your router after this, Joel.
Okay.
But it's okay.
Shoot.
When you're ready, Jesse.
10 seconds. Two seconds. Coming back.
That's right. It's the morning show right here on ABC News Radio, KMT 1490 AM with our online audience streaming from everywhere. Please find me at Aaron Michael Sanchez, official checkmark, or also Jesse Sanchez. And of course, our returning guest each and every week. We appreciate Joel Prevost for doing the great tech review and or thing that you need to look for, especially during this holiday season. Joining us is Joel Prevost of Prevost Partners. Good morning, Joel.
Good morning, Aaron. Good to be back.
Yeah, Joel, obviously you got a lot of really cool news, especially in the VR section. I feel like I almost want to build up to that because I want to talk about that in a moment. But you've got some gift ideas. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, people are starting to plan for the holiday season. Depending on your situation, most of us are expecting to be indoors, maybe even a little more this winter than normal. And so I've found a couple things to look for. One that I thought was really fun and different. I grew up with having like heated blankets. I'm a Montana kid, so the winters would get cold, and we had the nice heated blankets on our beds. But a new thing that I've come across is it's called the Woo Warmer, WOO Warmer hot carpet, and it's basically something you can roll out under your carpet and create like a heated floor situation under a rug or under your carpet somewhere in your house. It's $159 to $200 depending on the size you get, but it can be really expensive to incorporate. Some people have heated tile in their bathrooms, which is really lovely. Everyone likes to have warm feet, or if your kids play on the floor, this would be a less expensive, less invasive way. You don't have to do any remodeling if you're just rolling it out under a rug. To have a space maybe by your couch that has a nice warm base, and it can be heated up to 115 degrees, which is really hot, actually. We have one bathroom that has heated tile, and if it's over 90 degrees, that's surprisingly hot on your feet. So something to look for if you're out there shopping for some unique gift ideas or something to just treat your family with.
Yeah, well, and there's some like areas where you're kind of wondering, are you going to be a-okay in the cold? I mean, there's some people that just love warmth, right?
Right.
Like I know I used to get back pain because it was too cold, and so I'd need like a hot blanket. But that must be like nice to lay on when it's really cold outside.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. And, we have a basement, and basements tend to be a little more chilly. So it's that kind of thing that can maybe warm up your space this winter. And in addition, being indoors, I saw a tweet that you put out just the other day talking about there's a deal on one of the Sonos speakers that has gotten a lot of buzz. Now, we've talked about Sonos in the past, and I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with that company. I have a lot of their speakers, but I won't get into the details. We've gone over that before, but they weren't real kind to the early adopters with some of the changes they made to their new app, kind of discontinuing old speakers. But one of their newer speakers is called the Move, and it's their first step into having an outdoor ready speaker. I have it, and I reluctantly will say it really is an impressive speaker. It's very durable. I've left it outside in the rain overnight on accident and had no problems. It's completely wireless in that, all Sonos speakers kind of boast being wireless, but they do need to be plugged into the wall. They just don't have to be wired to each other. They use a Wi-Fi network to communicate. But this one actually sits on a dock to charge, and then you can just lift it up and carry it anywhere, which is really handy. The only downfall I'd say is it's heavy. It's not one of those things you're going to like. It's not one of the Bluetooth speakers you're going to put on your bike and take with you. It's a heavy speaker, so it'd be more like something you could bring it to the beach, but it's pretty heavy. But it toggles between your Wi-Fi network, so it can be grouped with your other Sonos speakers, or you can toggle it just to Bluetooth and have it be like a standalone where you don't have internet. You could be anywhere and use it as a really high quality speaker. So it's reduced to a little less expensive. It's still $300, which isn't cheap for what you can get a Bluetooth speaker, but it does bring a whole lot more quality and it's an impressive piece of equipment. As much as I am frustrated by that company a little bit, I do admit it's a great quality.
Well, okay, and earbuds, by the way, I recently bought some very cheap ones, like $20 ones, because I figured I'm going to probably lose them, and so far I haven't. So I'm testing my ability not to lose things. You have a recommendation on Samsung Galaxy Buds, right?
Yeah, I have a pair of the Apple AirPods that are really popular, but for many people, they're kind of looking for an alternative to Apple. And the Samsung Galaxy Buds Plus are actually a really very comparable, high quality earbud. And, they're also wireless. They're $150. Some reports are they're a lot more comfortable actually to wear for a long period of time for those people who are maybe on Zoom calls all day, or if they're in school all day, they're having them in their ears all day. They're more comfortable than the AirPod is. And they do boast having an 11-hour battery, which is really, really impressive.
Oh, that's good.
My AirPods do not last that long. Maybe the new AirPods do. I don't know, but I kind of doubt it. So the Samsung Galaxy earbuds are something to look for, as a good gift if you're looking for an alternative. The other tech thing that is not quite as flashy as, say, a gadget you're getting somebody, but could be really meaningful is, helping someone upgrade their Wi-Fi. And people have heard about Wi-Fi extenders, and those who aren't familiar, I've tried those and not had a ton of luck with getting a whole lot of success with extending the Wi-Fi network, but mesh networks are something I would highly recommend. It's a different product. There's a lot of good quality options out there. Google Nest has one for $150. TP-Link Deco is another. They have a range of them. And I actually purchased that product for my mom, who is in rural Montana. And the internet is a challenge in rural America. And she has satellite internet, which is not going to be as fast, but at least it's way better than what she had. This mesh network spread the Wi-Fi really well in a very large farmhouse. So consider a mesh network if you know someone or for yourself and you think I could upgrade this Wi-Fi, because everyone's using way more internet these days. So that's one of those things that having the right infrastructure is going to enable you to do all these fun things in your house and use all your gadgets the right way. So Google Nest, Amazon Arrow has one. It's a little more expensive. But those are, some reputable ones that I would consider budgeting for if you need an upgrade in your Wi-Fi or for a loved one, like I did for my mom.
Yeah, I've had a couple people on the show, which I wish they had one of these, and because they're sharing the Wi-Fi, they have their upload or their download. It's always fluctuating, but it's based on where they're at. I always say get a hardwire connection if you can. They have some pretty cool flat. Cat 5 used to be really ugly with the big blue ones, but now they have like really nice flat version ones that you could plug in. If you're streaming, I always recommend hardwire versus Wi-Fi, just because it's more consistent, right?
Right.
But those meshes really do help. Quick question. We got to take a quick break. Do you have time to come back with us a little bit more and talk about VR?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. Jesse, let's take it to a break. We'll be right back with more of Prevo Partners, Joel Prevo. We got to talk VR, and VR needs its own little section, guaranteed, because I got some ideas that need to get picked up by somebody, because I'm getting bored. Aren't you? We'll be right back right after this. All right, Joel, we're still on a commercial break. They can hear us because I don't know how to change that just yet. Every time I mean to test it, I just don't. So let me bring us back a little. Let's see if the comments are in social media. Any questions? We rarely get the questions from social media. If anybody has questions for Joel, let us know. And or Jesse, if you have a question on any of the items that he talked about.
Oh, I'm digging those speakers though.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a
All
good
right, I'm
one.
going to bring you back here. Let me put you on full screen. But anybody ask a question of Joel? I will say Algenia says thanks on the speakers, by the way. So she's appreciating that advice. I will say this. You know, is there any gadget, Joel, that you're trying out that you're like actually makes you excited, like kind of like a big kid again?
Man, you know, honestly, I feel like people are going to think I have stock in this company, but I have been geeking out about Wise still. That company has been cranking out new products left and right, and they're the ones who I have a bunch of their cameras, and I have their scale, and I think, Jesse, you got their wearable, right?
Yes, I have their fit tracker. I have their plug, and I was looking into more stuff from them. I'm enjoying their products.
Yeah, they're really affordable, and they're going to be putting out a vacuum now, a robot vacuum, and boy, they just have they've put out like 5 products in the last month. They're just moving super fast, and everything they push out has really been quite affordable, and the quality is really good. I've been very impressed by their cameras. They even have headphones like Jesse's wearing, but like, you know, like nicer ones, and they're going to be like $50. And reports are the quality is really, really good. So that's one of those companies who's just moving fast, and I keep my eye on them. Have you been happy with the wearable, Jesse?
Actually, I have. I enjoy it. There's some small adjustments I could probably make that they could upgrade, like the responsiveness to the Amazon Alexa, but that's negligible. But for a fitness tracker and stuff like that, the price point is amazing, and I'm enjoying it.
Cool. I'm tempted to look at those for some gift ideas because they're such a neat thing and an affordable way for someone to get a wearable.
Right.
Hey, Joel.
Yeah.
10 seconds.
We need to put you in contact with the PlayStation people. One of our friends got a PlayStation ahead of everybody. I'm so upset. So is Jesse.
Oh.
5 seconds.
Here we go.
Definitely. I would be happy to do that.
2 seconds.
Welcome back. Yes, it is the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. You got a question for Joel? Bring it up right here, right now. Find us on social media, Aaron Michael Sanchez or KMET 1490 AM. We're streaming live right here, right now. Whatever device you're tuning in from, go ahead and pop in your question for Joel. He's the expert on gear. Yes, what kind of gear is good to get, and or maybe for the family, and or just yourself. You know, maybe you're a single person, maybe you're a married couple, maybe you're wanting to be with a special someone. I got a question for Joel coming up right here, right now. But first, let's talk about VR. VR is really underutilized right now, but going forward, there's some tech that you would probably recommend that people start getting into if they, especially coming into the winter months.
Yeah, definitely. You know, virtual reality brings a really special experience for all the time that we're kind of stuck indoors. It's certainly, you know, we all know that there's nothing like going and actually having real experiences, but 2020 has put a wrench in some of that. So virtual reality allows for us to explore different things. And, you know, in the gaming world, which I don't pretend to be an expert in the gaming area, but I've done some research. VR has come a long way, and there's kind of 3 big heavy players that I would say I can recommend in that area. And it's, you know, the Oculus Quest 2, which has gotten a lot of press. Its price point, it is, you know, it goes up depending on the amount of memory you get, but you can get one for $300. And that is a really impressive piece of equipment in terms of it has the hand tracking, it has their finger tracking. So there's a lot less hardware needed to have the experience, and it's wireless. There was a time, as this has evolved, you used to be hooked to a PC in order to have the real move in a space experience with virtual reality, and that's changing with things like the Oculus Quest 2. There's also the Sony PlayStation VR. It's a little bit more expensive, $350, but also comparable in terms of, I think, the quality and the amount of gaming opportunity there. Then the other one that people may have heard of, but it's the HTC Vive, and I steer away from that one. It's way more expensive. It's like in the $700 range, and I don't think you get the benefits, especially because you still have to deal with the cable with those products. So the wireless is really a nice thing, and then of course the price point. So those two, the Sony and the Quest, are the best options. The thing I would remind people of about the Oculus products, so that's a Facebook product. Facebook owns that,
right?
And they made a change this last year that you have to use a Facebook account to log in to their VR headsets. And this is a trend you're going to see with anything that Facebook touches. They want to keep their Facebook alive. They want to keep people getting membership, or being on that platform, because they've seen the trends demographically that people are getting off Facebook, and so they're forcing people back on in order to utilize some of these products. That's a strategy. So sometimes that's a deterrent for people who don't want to deal with Facebook and some of the privacy background that they've dealt with. But they are very aware some people are just going to get a Facebook account, use it to log in, and maybe never use the platform for social media, and they realize that's a possibility. But that's one little deterrent to the Oculus products that I think for some people it's a big deal, others it's not. The lower price point really was the market was really controlled by the Oculus Go, which had a $200 model that was not going to be the quality of these others I'm talking about.
Right.
But it was a really nice headset in terms of some experiences and some lower level games. They've discontinued making that, and there's really not a headset on the market that I would recommend that replaces that from a different provider. The only one that I have seen, it's called a Pico 4K, but it's really not something for consumer level use. It's around the same price range, but it's really designed for developers who are trying to build a game or do something with the headset that is open to that. And it's a really comparable product.
And what's it called again?
But it's the Pico. It's PICO, and it's 4K. The quality is excellent, and it's a lower level, but they're really set up for more of a business-to-business model, because you could set it up in kiosk mode. So, for example, I have a client who I talked in the past about, he's a wellness product for seniors who want to maybe just escape and go to a beach, some Midwest America like I do, and they want to escape. They can go there and just sit on a beach and feel and hear the waves and feel like they're there. This would allow for kiosk mode, so he can set it up to just have his app be the only thing that runs on that, to simplify the experience for people who say, I just don't want to have all the noise of extra apps and thumbing through menus. I can just click, open, and I'm there, and I have my choices.
Got it.
So yeah.
Easy to use,
Exactly.
which I think is a huge curve you have to get over.
Yes.
Because sometimes if it's too complicated, it's like a one-time use and that's it, right? In order to get people to adopt something, you have to make it so that they want to be fully immersed, at least for a good hour and a half, almost to where the time goes by like that. And then they start this, like, because that's what game developers do, right? Like Candy Crush and others, they do these so that they kind of get you involved. And if they get you long enough, you kind of get that, like, hey, I want to do that again sometime soon, right? Which I believe for daycare centers is quite necessary. I would like to see at some point maybe a huge developer and/or one like this one and/or another one say, you know what, let's provide a bunch, free of charge, and let's test the model out and let's see what we can learn. If you can make it easy for an elderly person, you can make it easy for anyone, right? I mean, that's the ease of the iPhone. Actually, it was the easiest one to work with. Pick it up and intuitive, right? Which I feel some of these have not done that.
Absolutely. No, you're spot on. The user experience, your iPhone example is great. Many people loved Android because they could customize. Well, for many people, they don't want to deal with that. They just want it to work every time, and they want it to be simple and in the same place when they open their phone. So that's what Apple represented, and it was a solid machine. I think you have to recognize where VR is in the market. It's existed in the gaming world for some time, but it's really become more mainstream now. And so in a short amount of time, you went from having maybe 20 or 50 games available if you weren't plugged in and tethered, to now having several hundred. Well, think about back when the iPhone was introduced and you had apps. There were just a few apps out there. And now it feels like it's endless, right? That there's just so many apps in the App Store. And so we're still at the front end of VR in terms of its infrastructure growing and its availability of creative things. And so you're totally right that there's a huge opportunity to grow in this area and solve a lot of things. One of the things that VR does really, really well for people is training. Police, military have used it for a long time for, I say a long time, but it's been several years for first-person experiences and training in situations. That applies to just about any industry. Imagine in healthcare or anywhere else, if you can train people by feeling like you're there, by putting a headset on, that's a whole lot more impressive than doing role playing with your friend and, okay, you're the customer and I'm the, putting that headset on and actually maybe looking over the shoulder or feeling like you're in a situation is going to train you to be ready for that in the real life far better than any demonstration or little tutorial video that you've created. So it has massive potential in those realms.
Well, and I do say, look, if we look at the medical arena, even surgeons are doing things through robotics, and doing so at a very fine precision. And, I mean, there's training that can be had virtually anywhere, to be honest. If you put on, send that as part of the university. In fact, I don't know why I'm just thinking of this, but I could see universities getting to the point where, like, instead of investing on them going to, because I just heard New York closed down their educational school system again, going back to VR, and they simply are wanting for the kids to stay away now. But hopefully they'll go back. That's the hope. But I think it would be cool to have like an online university, have their VR headset as part of the tuition. They send it out, which doesn't cost that much. And then you could virtually train a lot of people with certain wearables or hand. I mean, there's certain gloves that make you feel like you're touching something. There's so many cool. I mean, there's so many uses. I would venture to say if somebody was smart, including Facebook, like the iPhone was, and back to something you said, developers made a lot of money really quick when they opened it up to like everybody to develop no matter what. They kind of said, okay, here's our open source, use it. If it gets approved, and a lot of them were like fly by night ones, but a lot of people that I met, app developers, did really good. And some of those apps still exist till today, right?
Oh, absolutely. And you're right. The haptic feedback that can be created through, like you said, the gloves and different things that they're developing can be a huge part of that immersive experience. I know the client I've worked with who does the wellness product, he's done projects for colleges to your point, where, the agricultural program, he did VR footage of some agriculture situations where like a calf was being born, and helping students understand and learn that experience differently than maybe just watching a video, because you feel like you're in the space, in the barn, in this, the calving barn or what have you. So there's a ton of opportunity there to really feel like you're there, especially in a time when it's hard to do that. And think about it, even if we're not in a pandemic, being able to bring those things to somebody who it's not easy to get to those spaces. Think about the amount of online learning that's happening right now.
Yes.
Well, if I could learn these things from a college across the country, and get the virtual experience, that's a whole lot better than just the textbooks and little videos. Well, so you're absolutely right.
And what I like about the social media part, I mean, granted, Facebook figured out way ahead of time, I think, before anybody did, to own the Oculus, right? Because Oculus wasn't owned by them originally, and then they saw a need. I see the ability to be able to reach out and be they can sell advertising time, right, for a lot of their their products. But I like the virtual part of meeting in person. And I know it's a digital avatar, but you can like have your friend next to you, or in the virtual space. I haven't participated in any of this because I really haven't done it, but I hear it's pretty cool, and it's a good way for you to share an experience so that you could at least feel like it's good. Now, I know like Wonder Woman's coming out supposedly in movie theaters in December. We talked about that. Jesse brought up that news yesterday. I'm wondering if this could be at least among early adopters, like if like you create a movie and instead of people going to movie theaters, you get it available and people get to watch it on their headsets. But it goes back to, it has to be affordable for the whole family. You can't just have it for one person. It'd be like, dude, you're staying on that too long, Joel. Let me have it. I can see your wife doing that.
Yeah, right. Well, you're right. And so there are a couple things that come into play there. One is the video or experience itself shot in 360 degree or at least 180, so that there's some value in turning your head and seeing the experience, or is it just that one-dimensional thing that we watch on TV? Because those are two different, really different medias. And so you can go on and put your Oculus Go headset on and watch Netflix, but you're really just watching a TV in there. You're not turning around and looking at things behind you. However, to your point about the avatar situation, the company Visual Inc. is incorporated, created one of those platforms where you can meet in a space. And you could be in a meeting space with another avatar. So you and I could be in there and we're little avatars talking. And I could then, if I'm in charge, I could pull up a video in that space, so we could be watching together as avatars a TV in that virtual space, and I could show you a presentation. We could watch a movie together, and so now it feels like there's a presence, like you're with me watching that. So those possibilities are really impressive. Not to mention we'd be in a virtual space and looking around, and you could create that. Literally, it could be anything. It could be an office space. It could be a beach. Anything you want, these developers can do it. And when you think about, again, the distance between people, the ability to virtually meet, FaceTime's amazing. The video our kids don't even know the difference that was not something that was possible just a short time ago. But this is really jumping the curve again to say we could actually be in the same space together and really kind of feel each other's presence and see our gestures and really up the game there. And so I agree. If we start getting our entertainment pumped to us through a virtual reality headset, I think it'd be a pretty amazing experience. Ideally, though, that's stuff that's shot in 3D. Because imagine if you could be in a Wonder Woman movie and in a battle scene, not only are you watching the battle here, but you turn around and there's battles behind you and you're in there. Similar to the video game experience, but now it's a movie and you think, oh my gosh, I feel like this stuff's flying right by me. Takes 3D experience to a new level.
Yeah, and I wouldn't do the whole movie like that because that would be confusing because the way they change it. But I would definitely do like a whole, like how they have behind the scenes and they have like the virtual reality headset director's edition for one full scene where you are in the middle of it. So it doesn't have to be the whole film, but it has like a good 30-second or even like, I don't know, a whole battle scene, right? Done where you're like, oh my God, I mean, so you never look at it the same way twice, right? And because they've done movies like that already, but it gets a little dizzying depending on refresh rate and all things.
Yeah.
Look, I see VR being a very cool thing in the next coming years. I just think it's underutilized right now, and I think there needs to be more development on that scene and make it a shared experience, make it affordable. And then, who knows? We might be so addicted. We're like, hey, Johnny, can you get off that and eat supper?
I agree.
So
think about absorbing a sporting event or a concert, things that you're not moving in like a car or anything, because those are where you get dizzy. Think about sitting in a seat at the stadium. You and I could go to the same football game and be virtually sitting next to each other with the same view and be able to look around and see a crowd and the game and hear the sounds very differently than just watching on TV. And we also did not have to go to a stadium. And so think about, a lot of people are going to be uncomfortable going to a crowd of 60,000 people for a while, even if this vaccine, is hopefully it looks like it's going to be really successful in the coming months. But people are going to be cautious. And so I think there's another opportunity to say, well, sell me a virtual ticket and I'll sit in the stands virtually, take in the game. And I could do it with my friends, essentially, and talk to each other while we're at the game.
All right, so there you go, Joel Prevost of Prevost Partners. We need to get some headsets to test out to make sure they're applicable, right? All right,
yeah, definitely.
Joel, thank you for spending time with us. How can people find out and all the great stuff you and your wife are doing over there?
Yeah, well, we're on LinkedIn and we're on Twitter. You can use the hashtag on Twitter, Tech Talk with Joel, or just drop me a message. Happy to answer questions or keep the conversation going about anything technology or healthcare. I love to keep it up.
All right, Joel Prevo, everybody. He's got a lot of technology in his house. Seriously, I got to go visit one of these days. All right, people, make it a great day. Whatever you're doing, we got to take a quick break. Prevo Partners, Joel Prevo, Tech Talk with Joel. That's where it's at. Thanks for spending time with us. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
There, Joel.
Thank you, Joel. The Skype says Aaron Sanchez kicked out Joel Prevo from the call. It's so mean. I didn't kick him out. I just removed him. That's how you start fights. All right, here we go. All right, people, we're on social media chat room here. What do you guys think about that? Pretty cool, right? Let's see. We've got comments in here. Let's see. Diana said, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go with Diana.
No, go ahead. What was you going to say?
Oh, no, it says Bobby talks about any tips on the motion sickness for the VR.
Ooh, test them out ahead of time. And there's certain apps that are not good for that. They're not really like stable enough, right? Like there's certain VR games I've played in the past where you kind of come out and go, whoa, right? But they're trying to figure it out. The certain headsets. I had this discussion with a VR person who did a movie for that, and he says, yeah, there's some new stuff coming out that he couldn't talk about. Maybe we could have him back. I don't know, but I think the newer ones, which is why I kind of don't want to be an early adopter, are going to be better for the head because they're kind of working out that. Does that make sense? I'll be honest. I kind of want to do the HTC version. I'm gonna bring that one back up. I know he didn't recommend it. I know it's more expensive, but there's a reason it's more expensive. It's the Vivi Cosmos, and there are some drawbacks to it, but there's a reason it's like $750. I think it's less motion problems, refresh rate, the way your eyes see, and of course knowing. Okay, sorry, people. I clicked on something I shouldn't have. Any tips on motion sickness? Yeah, I just don't move around in it. That's what I like. If I had my mom doing it, I'd be like, sit down, mom. I don't want, because I've done it where I stand up and then you kind of like forget where you're at and you bump into things. I don't like the ones where you stand in place or you move around in place if you're not
10 seconds.
Because I saw one guy climbing like a wall and then he fell down forgetting. You know what I mean? Like,
no comment. 2 seconds.
It's a thing. All right, people. We are checking out the social media chat room there of the morning show. And let's see. We got people tuning in. Bobby says Steam VR chat has Among Us gameplay. And it's amazing. So check that out. Algenia says that's interesting for business purposes and education. Very true. This question, any tips on motion sickness? Bobby's talking about that. I will say this. So I've tried out really only one device. It was for the PlayStation. It was a VR, really cool game. And you had this cool device where you held it in your hands and it simulated what was like a laser gun, right? It wasn't like a full gun, but it was really cool. It was ahead of its time. And I'm not sure what happened to the company, to be honest. I don't know if they ran out of money or they just didn't pick up enough, capital, because at the time VR just was kind of there. It was kind of, some thought of it as a gimmick, some saw the potential, but I think it's the next best thing since sliced bread, because right now you're at a time where now you can have a social media environment where you could participate with other friends and family, watch a concert, watch a participation, and stay at home safe, right? For our elderly generation that are preoccupied. I know I've been talking to my mom recently and she's like, no, I don't really want it. I'm like, Mom, I don't think you've tried it yet. But there's certain apps that maybe she would like that she wouldn't, you know what I mean? So I kind of want to test it on her. Does that make sense? Like, I want to see, Jesse, what she likes and what she does. And she did make a very interesting comment. She goes, well, how heavy are they? Because my neck hurts a lot, right? Because she had a really bad accident a few years ago. And so her neck often gets a little cramped up. So I am wondering how heavy they are. How long can you wear them for? Which one are more applicable for her sitting down? Because I don't want her, I know some people are in a wheelchair, right? And they're confined to a very tight space. Wouldn't it be cool, though, to be able to participate, like he said, at the beach, or, you had like a Zen moment, or just be able to visit places you couldn't visit otherwise. Or I think it'd be kind of cool if we got to the point, this is like super future, if like grandma or grandpa, were in a hospital bed and or having difficulty, then you could like say, hey, let's participate. And you have like this one thing that you have like a device, kind of like FaceTime, right? For iPhone, but they're kind of there, you know what I mean? And you put it like, I don't know, I'm thinking outside the box, but I think there's a lot of applications for it. So there you go. Let's see. We got social media chat room still live and up there. Lily says, I have a VR and I love it. I just don't do roller coasters. Yeah, again, and I did the roller coaster one where you have like the moving thing that moves with it. Have you ever done that, Jesse?
No, I have not. The only VR I have experienced was the PlayStation VR, but this was during the early days when they were testing it.
Yeah.
And I experienced it at a video game expo, and it was interesting.
Yeah, they're still. I mean, they're showing what the capability of it is, but as we go with wireless and such, I think it'll pick up a lot more in the coming days. I've run out of time though here on the morning show. That's Jesse over there. He's going to spend time quite a lot this weekend figuring out how to stay safe over there and not get hurt by coronavirus, right, Jesse?
Yeah, I won't get caught in the curfew.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get caught. And if you do, just say media. I work for KMET. All right, people, we love you. We appreciate you. Make it a great day, whatever you do. Remember, life is worth living. Live it well. We'll see you next week, everyone. Bye-bye. I love that last part. I feel like we should keep that on a little bit longer. All right, for those of you tuning in, we appreciate you. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Yesterday, we had a very interesting conversation. It went for a full 3 hours, which was a very enlightening conversation. But look, at the end of the day, VR is where it's at. I'm going to talk about it till I'm blue in the face because I think there's a lot of really cool uses. And honestly, I think, I kind of miss the app development of iPhone and Android. But some people I remember meeting made a lot of money really quick and fast. And they just learned very basics of how to make an app. There's still time to learn how to make an app if you have an idea for an app and to get it sold on the store or on the device. You just have to make sure you get enough money to be able to market it and get it out there if you have an idea for an app. So, look, if you have some slow time and you've been wanting to think about that, you could take a weekend course and learn how to make a very basic app that way. Now, VR, to learn VR development, I'm going to look that up. Learn VR development. And I'm not sure how long it takes for you to figure that out because there's sometimes some ways to do so with very basic systems because sometimes they give you kind of like a plug and play situation and they're like, okay, code it or recreate it or do whatever you're going to do. I'm going to go to the first one that pops up as an ad. XR development with Unity. Oh, okay. So there's certain, and let's see. Workshop. So let me click on that. Course info session, XR development with Unity. Now, this is always the hard part. You got to figure out which ones are going to be ahead of the game, meaning, but here's one, Oculus Quest 2 hand tracking. But, if you were going to learn anything ahead of time, or if you're young or you got a youth out there, have them look at VR application developing. Because I think people that get on that earlier now than ever before can start creating some pretty cool programs for the youth of our generation. Even if you there's a simple game called Roblox, okay? And it is not fancy. There's another one called Minecraft, and it's like blocks. I mean, it doesn't even look anywhere near like 3D motion or anything. But the reality is, I could tell you right now, here's one. Let's see. Learn VR development tips, tricks, and guides to develop VR. Okay, so And this comes on circuitstream.com. Download our 10-week development course, the basics, choosing a 3D game engine. Okay, so that makes sense. Choosing a device to build for, their advice. They say, don't panic, experiment, tackle one step at a time. If you get stuck, take a break, find your community, build a portfolio consciously. I really do think for the youth of our generation, for those that like gaming and or the idea of VR, you're at a great time right now before it explodes to start learning it. Here's one, Udacity, Intro to TensorFlow for Deep Learning Udacity free courses. I would even start like that, and, give it time because it's a little bit different of a way to create stuff. There are people that are using VR for training, as was mentioned. Some are using it for like a movie development. If you want to do live action capture scenes, that's cool. But I really do think the heart of it is in 3 different products. Gaming, number one, people need to veg out, right? Honestly, recreational use. And what I mean by that is like, imagine friends and family being able to connect from virtually. This is great for single people, by the way, ready to mingle. You have like a virtual meetup, right? You could even be like across town and or another country. Maybe you have a lost love, which is stuck in another country right now. And you're like, hey, you know what? Let's go with a virtual meetup, date type situation. I don't know. There's apps for it, I would imagine, or ways that you can meet people. Although I would imagine some people don't want to, show their face just yet. Although I would say just get over it and better, if you guys saw Ready Player One in that situation, they if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's an interesting movie. I believe produced by Steven Spielberg. Very fun ride, by the way. But the whole idea in there is where I think we're going eventually, right? But you could create like training seminars. I think that there's very basic things. I think for the educational system, it just makes sense. I think for the educational system, if you made it available to many and you got rid of the high price tuition that they currently have, take 100,000 students, give them a bunch of VR headsets, create the apps ready to go. They might be a little clunky at first, but get them started and beta test the heck out of it among the 100,000 students and give them education for free. Start them off in very high profile classes that you need them to get started off that they could do virtual. And there you go. Away you go. Like I think Facebook could invest in that, right? Invest in the people. I mean, if I were part of government, I would get them, hey, let's do that. Let's pick 100,000 at random. Never. You got to test them ahead of time to see what they're good at and or want to do. And then you kind of invest in your own really quick and fast. It's a quick, fast way to do it. But then you take another 250,000 eager students, put them in a regular virtual online class and, start rolling out slowly. And by the end of 8 years, you got everybody learning virtually and you don't have to worry about the high cost that it costs to, pay for a location and or maintenance or anything else. I mean, an $800 system or $12,000 system can pay for a VR headset. Do you understand what I'm saying? But the applications are limitless. So there's so many different ways to do it. I just think people are not thinking outside the box as they need to, or I just don't know the right people that already know that. Is there anybody out there? I'm sure there are. There's probably 5. So there you go. Let's see. Comments and social media. All right, let's go to these really quick. Let's see. Lily says hello from Chino Hills. Thank you. Rosalie says ditto. Algenia says from Honey Creek and Stockbridge area. Thank you. Let's see. Lily says my grandkids are on games a lot now. Yeah, it's kind of a thing. I mean, look, sometimes it takes you away from life when you need to face life and you got to make money facing life. So don't do that. But hey, if it helps you, I know people that are VR broadcasting and they're making money while they're VR broadcasting. Maybe I should look into that. That might be more fun than what I'm currently doing. Let's see. Lily says, dating on VR would be interesting. If you don't like the person, just block them or her. Exactly. Why not? Go on a virtual date. And in fact, hey, do you want to do a virtual date first, right? Instead of like real coffee in person. And oh, by the way, do you have coronavirus? I don't know. All right, well, let's virtual date it out. I mean, think about it. You can like virtual date a bunch of people really fast, and they call it speed dating, but do like every hour on the hour. Okay, well, thank you so much. It was great meeting you. Dude, next. Hey, hi. I just got on. I don't know. I got weird ideas. I know. But there you go. All right, people. I appreciate you, and whatever you do, do it well. I'm going to sign off. You guys got more things out there to deal with, I'm sure. So I'm going to end here. Make it a great day, whatever you do. Remember, life is worth living. Live it well, everyone. Bye-bye.